What's up, guys? Ian here, coach of your Ladner Lanturn, bringing you guys our Week 3 Team Builder in Hive Season 7, taking on Ben and the Baltimore Oriolus. His team consists of Celesteela, Nidoking, Goodra, Primarina, Licky Licky, Orbeetle, Mega Gallade, Heatran, Zoroark, Espeon, and Fortress. He's got priority options in the Nidoking with Sucker Punch, Mega Gallade with Shadow Sneak, Zoroark with Sucker Punch. Hazard setting in the Nidoking with Rocks and T-Spikes, Orbeetle with Webs, Heatran with Rocks, Fortress with Rocks, Toxic Spikes, and Spikes. Removal options is just the Fortress with Rapid Spin, as well as, I guess, technically Magic Bounce Espeon if you want to count that. And then his 4 times weaknesses are Heatran to Ground and Fortress to Fire. Okay, all of that said, the only one that I don't really particularly expect to come is Zoroark, but again, it's another matchup where it definitely could come. I do have triple Psychic, so Zoroark could make an appearance here for sure. Notably, this team has triple Psychic and triple Steel, and it doesn't even look like it's that bad. There's no Grass type, but it's got an Orbeetle, so it's still a really good ground resist, or good enough ground resist for the Heatran. And Celesteela covers that. Like, the 3 Steel types basically all cover each other. Heatran and Celesteela are covering each other almost immaculately. The Nidoking can kind of cover the electric types, but at the very least, Goodra can cover the electric types. Fortress and the fire weakness, Heatran covers just as well as Celesteela, and that's the only weakness that Fortress even has. So this team is actually really difficult to break, and I'm not sure how I'm going to do it, especially with Wish Pass. It's a really fat team with a little bit of offense with the Nidoking, Orbeetle, Primarina, Espeon, and Gallade, which I know is 5 Mons, but normally you expect to see more than that. Again, I can pretty much see everything coming, and we had such a difficult time prepping for Mega Medicham last week that I'm definitely looking forward to prepping for Mega Gallade this week. Oh wait, no I'm fucking not. I'm not looking forward to this at all. I have a bad feeling this is going to be a severe 0-3 start to our season, and if that's the case, I may look into just blowing up the team. First up on my side is Mudsdale. This is technically my Mega Gallade answer, which is either going to have Leaf Blade or Ice Punch. I know it. Probably would have Ice Punch to hit the Serp and the Crobat as well. It doesn't have to have it, but it probably would. I'm just physically defensive. Hopefully I can take it on. I can't really fit Body Press on the set this week, so I'm like mono walled by Celesteela, but that's fine. We're just mono Earthquake with Rocks, Roar, and Rest. Rest of Chest is pretty solid, and just having a pivot into the Mega Gallade is something that I can use, as well as roaring things out from behind a sub. I don't really want to deal with the Espeon, but if I have Earthquake, like I can just one-shot it with Earthquake, so it's pretty relevant. Hoopa is next. I'm bringing an Assault Vest Hoopa. I've brought this a couple times to check Nidos. It's a very effective way at checking Nidos and Espeon in this case as well, because Espeon doesn't get any bug coverage this gen with Signal Beam being deleted. It's pretty safe switching to both of those, actually. Hyperspace Fury, Thunder Punch, then Headbutt, Drain Punch. I'm fully specially defensive with Assault Vest. It's the only way to deal with Nido if it's Life Orb. And even then, I'm going to be struggling to switch into it a couple times, for sure. Fury is actually really spammable this game because this team is a lot more specially defensive than physically defensive. And I don't have Fire Punch to hit the Fortress. I would love to have Fire Punch to hit the Fortress. Maybe I should drop something for Fire Punch to hit the Fortress. I've got Drain Punch instead to recover a little bit, but maybe it's better to just rely on other things later and swap out Drain Punch for Fire Punch here. Yeah, you know what? I think that's the right play, actually. So we'll run Fire Punch instead, and then we'll be able to hit the Fortress. And the Celesteela, I guess, in theory, with Fire Punch into Hyperspace Fury should do a lot, or Fire Punch, Thunder Punch into Hyperspace Fury. Just gives me a better option on the Celesteela. A little bit better of an option. So Fury just demolishes the Gallade. It'll demolish the Orbeetle. Honestly, it'll probably demolish most things. Drain Punch was nice against the Licky Licky, but I probably should be switching into something else against Licky. And that's the Hoopa. Victini is next. I'm bringing an Expert Belt, specially offensive Victini with Blue Flare, U-Turn, Thunder, and Focus Blast. This should be enough to deal with almost everything. I'm missing coverage to hit, like, Goodra or Primarina. Without U-Turn. Like, I could drop U-Turn for, like, Glaciate or, like, Psyshock, is something that I was very much considering, was actually Psyshock to hit the Goodra. And I'm opting out of it for U-Turn because I think the momentum is going to be very helpful for me. If I can go and... I can probably grab momentum into, like, my Terrakion against the Goodra anyways, which I think is probably better than running something to hit it. Blue Flare, I mean, there's triple steel types here. Obviously, one of them is immune, which is what I have Focus Blast for, and that's pretty much the only reason I would have Focus Blast. Blue Flare is pretty spammable against most of the team, and then Thunder is there to hit the Primarina, and it's a way to hit the Celesteela that the Heatran cannot switch in on. And then, yeah, Focus Blast is there to hit the Heatran if it does try and switch in after a Blue Flare or something like that, and it's a decent way of hitting the Zoroark and the Licky Licky without running out of PP on Blue Flare quickly enough. I'm running enough speed to outrun Orbeetle, so if it's a max speed Orbeetle for some reason, then I'm speed creeping that. Max special attack, a little bit of HP. Ben's like super good about EVs and making EV spreads. I honestly just did not give a shit this game. As you can see, I'm just max, speed creep, HP dump, speed creep, HP dump. I optimized this a tiny little bit, but not for any reason. I just kind of split the EVs. Lele is next. I'm running a bulkier Lele with Nature's Madness, Moonblast, Thunderbolt, and Psyshock. Nature's Madness is super valuable in this matchup because of how fat this team is and how much it relies on Licky Licky Wish support. There's not really any recovery on anything besides Orbeetle, honestly. Outside of Licky Licky passing wishes into this fat, it's not fat that's going to stick around for like 70 turns and just be a Toxapex or whatever. So Nature's Madness is really, really a good way of breaking down this team, especially the triple steals, 3 of which I think are coming. I do think all of them are coming. Despite me having Victini Terrakion, I think it makes a lot of sense to bring all of them. And so, yeah, I'm bringing Lele for that. Thunderbolt, I mean, is for the Celesteela, as well as technically Primarina, but I've got Dual Stab besides that, which will be able to hit the Goodra, the Espeon, the Zoroark, etc. Should be super solid. It also kind of deals with like Tren being annoying, so things to keep in mind. Of course, I'm outspeeding Nidoking, so I don't have super effective coverage to hit Orbeetle. I don't think Orbeetle is going to carry anything to hit me, so I'm just speed creeping Nidoking instead of Orbeetle. I was a little bit more conservative with my Victini speed creep. I don't really think that it's likely that Orbeetle would even run a max speed set anyways, so we're just being less conservative, more liberal in speed creeping the Nidoking, which funnily enough is the exact same speed creep that I'm doing here, because it's 10 points below. Crobat is next. I'm running a Heavy Duty Boots Infiltrator because Sub Gallade is very common. Sub Primarina could definitely be a thing with now that I get to Calm Mind. Sub Nidoking is definitely a thing. I've seen Sub Goodra before. I've definitely seen Sub Heatran before. So lots of things that could run Sub, and I want Infiltrator to deal with that. Even though screens aren't that much of a problem, Orbeetle could still run them. Something to consider. Brave Bird, Roost, Defog, and U-Turn. So U-Turn there for the momentum, of course. Crobat brings in Steel types, which I can then bring Victini in on and U-Turn on again. Except if it's Heatran, then I probably click Focus Blast. Roost, obviously, to get my health back, and Heavy Duty Boots means that I'm not going to be affected by rocks. There's a lot of different hazards in this game. In fact, he's got one of each hazard at the very least, and 3 rockers. But Defog is going to be pretty clutch in keeping my Victini healthy and keeping T-Spikes off the field because I'm not bringing Mega Beedrill against Triple Steel with Espeon that is probably going to be Scarfed. Yeah, I'm outrunning Gallade and Espeon, so the fastest mons on this team. I opted to be Jolly so that I could get more attack out of this rather than being Adamant or like Impish or something, which I could have been. I'm just a little bit bulky, and then I've got some attack investment there for Brave Bird to be able to chip things down a little bit better. Last but not least is Terrakion. I'm bringing a choice banded set with Close Combat, Stone Edge, Megahorn, and Earthquake. Megahorn plus Close Combat tears through a lot of this team. Most of the bulk here is actually fairly leaning towards specially bulky. Primarina and Mega Gallade and Goodra, all in particular, are much, much more specially bulky than physically bulky. So I think Choice Banded Terrakion is not a bad thing to have here against Triple Steel. Despite there being Triple Psychic, all of which resist Close Combat. Orbeetle obviously 4 times resists Close Combat. Stone Edge resists our Nidoking. And that's Nidoking and Mega Gallade. But Banded Stone Edge is a 2-shot of Mega Gallade. It's not a huge deal there. And again, with the Triple Psychic, Megahorn, Terrakion gets Megahorn this generation rather than just X-Scissor, which is a much stronger way of dealing with those. And Earthquake is pretty spammable if Celesteela doesn't show up. Again, it's just the Orbeetle, which I would imagine is probably the Tracheon switch in anyways, which I'm going to Mega Horn. So there's a few things to consider there. I am outspeeding Zoroark. This is maybe my lead option. Maybe. I can maybe get a kill, or at the very least get a ton of damage off on something right off the bat. Jolly, a little bit of max attack, a little bit of HP. In terms of what I'm not bringing, Superior, I've considered. Glare doesn't look like a great set, and he's got Triple Steel, which I can't use HP Fire or HP Ground on. So, nope. Duraludon, just, man, that thing is, it's so bad. I understand why it's in Tier 4 now. I have not been able to bring it to a single match because it's just going to get torn apart by any special attacker on these teams. None of them have physical attackers that Duraludon can like resist the typings of, so it's just really bad. Mega Beedrill, again, against Triple Steel, just not the play. Blastoise, I looked into a physical Shell Smash variant rather than a special one because of all the special bulk on this team, and it was actually kind of okay. I just didn't think that I could set it up and have it be a win con this week, and I've misplayed it the last 2 weeks, so I don't really feel confident in my ability to use it very well. Defensively, Blastoise wouldn't really make a difference this game. Primarina switches in on it every single time, so yeah, not dealing with Blastoise. Lanturn, on the other hand, could have been a good bring for mons like Heatran and Celesteela, but I already think that I'm maybe focusing a little bit too hard on the Heatran and the Celesteela, and maybe ignoring things like the Goodra and the Mega Galate a little bit, so didn't want to bring Lanturn. And that is pretty much it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys for the match.